How do I start this? Good enough. This is just going to cover the very basics. If you're already familiar with breeding, you'll be familiar with all of this. There's just a couple little things that do vary from the original games in Pokemmo. So in the normal games, you put two Pokemon together that are capable of breeding, and you'll get eggs constantly. In Pokemmo, you sacrifice the parents to get one egg. As for where you start breeding, you'll talk to the old man in front of the daycare. The daycares are still in the same locations as the original games. In Kanto, it's Island 4. In Johto, it's south of Goldenrod. In Hoenn, it's left of Mobile. In Sinnoh, it's in Solaceon Town. And in Unova, it's Route 3. So you might still be kinda stuck on the whole, the parents die, what the fuck? Well, there's ways to control the breeding process. You're not just trying to work off random luck. Instead, you can use items to pass on IVs and other things, which I'll go into in the more advanced video. Another difference is that eggs hatch with time instead of steps. If you're just hatching normally, it takes about 5.5 minutes. If you use Flame Body to speed up the process, it takes about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. One nice thing is that hatch times aren't affected by growth rate like they are in the normal games, so no matter what you're breeding, it should all hatch about the same time. There is something to watch out for when you're hatching eggs though. If you go into battle, it pauses the timer on egg hatching, so it'll take a lot longer if you're like fishing, payday farming, even shiny hunting while you're hatching eggs. Pokemon has 3 genders when it comes to breeding. You've got male, which you can see here. You've got female, which is denoted by this icon. And then you've also got genderless, which will not have an icon. When you breed, you'll need a female and a male, or a Ditto and any Pokemon that's capable of breeding. And for genderless, you can breed with anything within the same line. So in this case, I have a Beldum. I can breed it with Beldum, Metang, or a Metagross. It all works together. Gender matters because the species of the egg is determined by the female Pokemon or the non-Ditto. There are also Pokemon that are only one gender. So for example, Miltank and Kangaskhan are only female, and that's why nobody really wants them, because you can't breed anything besides Miltank or Kangaskhan if you start adding those to your breed. And then stuff like Tauros or Braviary is only male, and you need Dittos in order to keep them as Tauros or Braviary, since any female Pokemon will turn it into the other species. Nidoran is a unique situation, because the firstborn Nidoran, male or female, works like a normal Pokemon. But when you evolve it, Nidorina and Nidoqueen are female only. What that means is if you use one of those in the breed, you'll always get female Nidoran, but then you can use that Nidoran and turn it into a male Nidoran down the road, as long as you don't evolve it. When you grab an egg, you can also decide the gender of the egg. It will normally cost 5k, or it can go all the way up to 21k depending on the gender ratio for the Pokemon you're trying to make. A common example would be like, well, every starter really, and then Eevee costs 21k to make female because they have a 1:7 ratio. When you grab your egg from the old man, you'll also have to use a Pokeball to keep it in. There is no reason to select anything besides a normal Pokeball, and if you want to, you can always change it down the road just by going to the summary of the Pokemon. The only examples of Pokeballs you might want would be ones that either look good for what you're trying to breed, or a luxury ball to speed up the happiness gains if you're breeding something like a baby Pokemon. So next would be egg groups. All Pokemon within the same egg group can breed together. Pokemon normally has monster, bug, flying, field, fairy, plant, humanoid, human-like, mineral, and dragon here, as you can see. Pokemmo decides to call water 1, 2, and 3, water A, B, and C, and then the amorphous egg group is called Chaos. It will also have a Ditto, cannot breed, and genderless, but these are not proper egg groups. What this means is that, let's say you want to make a Charizard. Instead of buying all of these Charmanders, you really just need one that's female to start your breed. And then you can go look for the Dragon egg group, which it's a part of. And you'll see there's a ton of Magikarp that are much cheaper, and you can use that to save a lot of money and time. This is also where the Wailord and Skinny can breed together joke comes from, because they're both part of the Field Egg group. So it's at this point that I'm going to talk about Ditto. Ditto is a unique case in that it can breed with any Pokemon that's capable of breeding, but the egg will never be a Ditto. There are also Pokemon that are just simply not capable of breeding. There is Legendaries, Unknown, Shedinja, and then all the baby Pokemon, which you will need to evolve first in order to breed. So that concludes the basic guide to breeding. We just covered how you get the Pokemon you're trying to breed and what Pokemon can breed together, as well as some of the differences between PokeMMO breeding and normal Pokemon. The next video will cover some of the more in-depth stuff, IVs, natures, egg moves, and I'm going to include incense in that one because it functions similarly to IVs and natures. I hope this video was able to help you. If you got any questions, leave them below, and I might make a Q&A once I'm done with all these to help answer any other questions. Only related to breeding though. I don't really care too much about like berry farming and all that.